Hi there, my name is Bill Schwab and I'd like to welcome you back to Northlight Photographic Workshops. This is episode 2 in the coronavirus editions, which seems very strange, but that's the situation that we find ourselves in. And I know that a lot of you are at home right now locked down, or at least you should be at home right now locked down, or maybe this is in the future sometime and you're looking at this video and you're thinking, that coronavirus really sucked. I'm glad we're done with it. So let's look forward to that day. Anyway, what I'm going to do today is another short video that's going to go along with the one that I did the other day that you can find a link to up here right now, and that was on masking your negative. As you can see right here, I have a masked negative ready to go today. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it a step further today, and I'm going to mask a piece of paper before I coat it. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Now, what I do to get these nice clean edges that I like in my photographs, my platinum and palladium and other alternative process photographs that I do, I like this clean edge, and the way that I achieve that is not only by masking my negative, but I also mask my paper as well before I coat, and I'm going to show you how I do that today. Now, so what you're going to need is a light table again, and you're going to need some tape, and what I like to use for this is this Scotch removable tape. It comes in the blue box. I order it off Amazon, and I'll leave a link below, as I do with everything that I'm going to be using in this video and other videos that I do. Another tape that you can use is this delicate surface tape made by Scotch. It's a painting tape that you can use on wallpaper and those kind of things. Now, I also use this from time to time, but it tends to be a little stickier than this, and sometimes it will lift up the surface or the sizing of the paper, so you have to be very careful. Now, one of the things that I like to teach people to do with this tape is, or any other tape that you're going to use on paper that you want to make sure isn't going to lift, is to dull it a little bit just before you use it. And the way that I do that is I'll stick it down on my t-shirt or my jeans or something like that, and that will help dull the paper so that when you put it on the paper and you lift it back up, it won't lift any of the surface of the paper off. So anyway, this is another tape that you can use, but I don't like to use that one as much as I prefer this Scotch removable tape. Now, another thing that you're going to need is your paper, of course, that you're going to coat with. Now, what we're going to be using for this is the Hahnemühle paper, Hahnemühle Platinum Rag. Now, Hahnemühle is a great company, and this Hahnemühle Platinum Rag paper is really good for different alternative processes because it doesn't need to be treated. Now, treating paper is another thing that you need to do for papers that aren't created for these processes, that have buffers in them and that kind of thing. And I also did a video on that, and you can see that video link up here probably right about now. But anyway, so we're going to be using the Hahnemühle Platinum Rag. And I have a sheet right here right now cut down to 8 by 10 that I'll be using. Now, I'll need the negative, I'll need that piece of paper. You're also going to need a pencil with a fine point on it. I like to use a nice hard grade pencil so that it doesn't leave a real black dot. But even so, if it leaves a black dot in your print, that's kind of a symbol of your handmade, of the handmade quality of the print that you're working on. So I don't really mind that so much. But anyway, a hard grade pencil is a good one to use for this. I'll also have you be using the paper cutter here again, and I've just got a normal piece of typing or inkjet paper right now, and I like to use this as a further mask after I've put the tape on. Now, I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But first, what I'll get down to is this: when I do this, I have to mask the negative because I need to know right where the edge of the negative is, so I know where to mask on my piece of paper. So what I do is I take the negative that I'm going to be working with, and I put it down on the light table like this, and then I can put the paper over the surface of it. And I'm going to go horizontal on this piece here just because it works better with an 8 by 10. And so what I'll do is I'll put the paper on here, and I'll either center up the print or I'll bottom weight it a little bit, like you can see, and kind of get equal sides on the top and the sides and the back and on the bottom. And then what I'll do is I'll take and I'll plot very lightly at the corners a point with the pencil. So there I've got one point, and I'll go to the next one, and I'll mark that point, and I'll go to the next one and mark that corner, and then I'll mark the next corner. So now I can see my 4 dots here. They're very faint, but I can see them. Hopefully you can see them on the camera. Then what I'll do is I'll take the negative away, and then I'll turn off the light table so that I can easier see my dots here. So that's where the tape comes in. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tape and I'm going to stretch it between these dots on the piece of paper and mask out the area where I am going to be putting my, coating my emulsion. I'll take the tape and I go along the dots here right on the edge and I stretch it to the other dot here in this corner and down it goes. Now I'll turn it to a right angle. Now I'll pull another piece of tape off here, and then what I also like to do is fold over the edge here so I have something to lift up on at the end. And I go and I mark along between those two dots. And again, right angle, strip of tape, fold over the edge, and mark between those two dots. And then I take the last piece of tape, fold over the edge, and I'm going to mask again between the two dots. Now, I have a nice rectangular area in which to coat, but the problem being is that if I get a little careless with the brushing, which I often do, I'll brush over this tape and it will go off into the white areas, and then when I process, that will come up as black overbrush, and I don't want that to happen. So that's where it comes in with another piece of the paper that I have here, is I'll cut 4 strips of that. So there's 3 and number 4. And then I'll take and I'll line these up along on this tape, but I'll leave myself enough area in which to tape it down. And that helps me to further mask off the piece of paper. Now I know you use a lot of tape, but the tape is inexpensive, and the results are very satisfying. So there we have 3 down. Now we're all set. Now what I also like to do is I go and I mark off a little bit in the corners here with tape, just to keep everything secure. Now I have a nice masked off area in which we're going to coat. Now if you'll follow me into the darkroom, we'll take care of that. So now we've got our piece of paper here and we're ready to start our coating. Now I'll take you through a little bit of my coating process as well. I'm going to be using, of course, palladium solution, some ferric oxalate solution, and some tween solution. Now the tween, you can see in a previous video I show a way to mix up tween, and if there's room left in the links, there'll be a link up above right now that you can see in the video. But anyway, we're going to get on to mixing up our palladium, and first thing I like to do is to wet my brush. I get it a little bit wet in just some clean distilled water. I shake it out a little bit, and then basically I just dab it to a piece of paper towel to get it ready to go. And that way I've got some solution in the brush, so it won't absorb all of my palladium solution into the brush. It'll just remain on the surface and I can brush it out onto my paper. So then what I'll do is I'll mix up my palladium, and I know from previous experience that a print about this size will take about 8 drops of palladium. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'll go to my ferric oxalate, an equal amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my tween solution that I mix up, I'm going to put about 3 drops in of that. 1, 2, 3. Although you can also put in a little bit more. You can always do equal amounts as you do with your platinum and palladium and your ferric oxalate. So then I mix that up nicely together, and then I pick up my brush all ready to go, and then I dump it across my paper. And very quickly I start to brush it into my paper. And what I can do is brush it out to the edges of my mask. You can see where my mask is. And then I brush to the right. And then I again brush vertical and horizontal. And as you can see, my overbrushing that's protecting the mask, that's protecting the paper by the mask. I like to get a nice even coat And then I'll just drag one final brush across with just the weight of the brush. I'll set my brush off to the side, and then I'm ready to go. Now what I will do is once this paper dries and once I've dried the surface of the emulsion, I'll peel off my tape, and then I will get to doing the printing. Okay? So we'll wait a minute here while this dries. Now one of the things that I like to do while the drying process is going on is to clean up my, my brush and my shot glass of solution here. So I'll take care of that while this is drying. So now I've got my brush washed and my shot glass washed. Set that off there to dry and put the brush back down for the next coating. And then my paper is all set to go. So what I can do is I can peel off my mask. And then I'm ready to print. So let's get on with that. So we'll bring in our print frame and open the back up. And we will take our negative and very carefully I can see through and I can line up my negative with my coating. There we go. I'll put that into the contact printer and we'll put the cover back on. There we go. We're ready to put in the plate burner. There we go. Let that cook a little bit. Okay, so time's up. Okay, we'll take our printout. You can see a little bit of a latent image on there. We'll see what we've got. So it's time for the grand reveal. We'll see what we have here. Get out the developer. Pour it on. Wow, there it is. Beautiful. Very pleasing. So there you can see how our nice clean edge worked out. So that's kind of a double masking. Mask the negative and mask the print before we coated it. You get a nice clean edge. So I'll go through the rest of the clearing and washing process and dry this, and we'll see what we've got. So there you have it. There's our final print. Nice clean edges, the result of our masking efforts. It really is a beautiful way to go, and I really do like the clean edges. I know that a lot of people do like the overbrushed look, and I have nothing against that. It gives a nice stylized look and a nice artistic kind of a look, but I really do like this nice clean edge that I get. It reminds me of old printing days back in the darkroom when I was printing my silver gelatin prints. But anyway, another thing that I think I'm going to do on this, which I haven't done before on these videos, is I'm going to offer this up for sale down below. You can just click the link there. I'm going to offer it for a pretty special price, and just so people can see what it looks like to have one of these nice clean edge platinum and palladium prints. I mean, if you're not familiar with the process or you haven't done it yourself, it really does help to have some sort of a guide print to go by. And this is quite a beautiful little print, if I do say so myself. I made it the other day over on the bay, Sturgeon Bay, near where I live. It's the ice breaking up out in the bay. It's springtime up here in northern Michigan, and even though we're all locked down at home, it's pretty remote up here, and I'm able to get out and wander around a little bit. And I think that that's what I'm going to do for our next video, is perhaps take you over to a sunset now that the weather is clearing up, and it might be nice to get out of the place and take you outside a little bit and show you what the area is like without any danger of getting contracting this terrible virus or giving it to somebody else if I happen to be positive, which I don't think I am. I've been locked down here for about 3 weeks, and so far so good. Anyway, I'm hoping the same for you, and I'm hoping you're happy and healthy and staying home, hoping you're not too bored, and if you are, I hope I helped to relieve it a little bit today. So with that, I look forward to coming back to you with the next video, and I hope you'll come back again. So take care of yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.